My name is Kevin Outa, and I am a documentary photographer and filmmaker. I am passionate about creativity, art, music, and all things that inspire people. From a very young age, my parents, my siblings have been very supportive of me. Hata kwa ma-adventure zangu tumekuwa tu, we have, as a family, we have been very supportive of each other, and that support between us always trickled down to me.
Sometimes you want to know whether they are sisters and brothers or mother and father, because in many occasions you'll tell me, Mr. Odongo, oh, can you talk to Mrs. Odongo? That is his mother. But then it has been like that for all of us in the family. So it tells you the character or the attitude and habit that the family carries with them. And as the last born, he just came in the circle to go with that.
And also I think one of the things that I can say about me is that I think, even now, I think I have been very quiet.
In fact, I felt he was too humble. Nilikuwa hata unaona watu hii even as he went to school. Yeah. Sometimes you almost feel like, mbona Kevin yangika Mungu effort hapo. You know, everybody anajikaza, wengine wanaiba, you know. Why can't he just, you know? But he never liked playing foul. And that is what he also expected of his friends.
And unless you provoke a situation, you want to know whether Kevin is there or not, but he's always there for us. So Kevin is a humble, young man and ambitious to achieve his goals.
Honestly, my memory fails me sometimes, but because he has been in my life through, like I've known him since he was born, he has been very present in that sense. So I think the thing that I largely remember is that he always had a very calm demeanor, very quiet, very chilled dude. I don't know if that's an attitude, but yeah, he's been very calm, chill, very level-headed most times. Yeah, and I guess just good vibes.
He has a very sarcastic side. He's very smart with his answers sometimes. But I think that adds to his charm, because you know that wherever Kevin is, it's always a good time.
I guess that has always made people really, his calm demeanor and his openness and his chillness and his good vibes has made people easily gravitate towards him. Like, he's just a cool person. That's what I can say. So sijui hiyo ni attitude, but hiyo ndo attitude mimi naweza sema ako nayo.
Ever since I met Outa, I think he has evolved so much. He doesn't compare himself with other people. He generally believes in himself so much. Actually, he has this ability of, I can do it. Everything kwake is possible.
Obviously, my first encounter with Kevin Outa was when working at OB Africa, which was ilikuwa kama melting pot. Yani, everyone comes there and it's like relationships were built, friendships were built, networks were built. So yeah, even though tulipatana kwanza na Kevo, and then it was very formal photography nini. But the one thing you realize ni kuna ujinga fulani Kevo alikuwa nayo which ni kama ilikuja kwangu by osmosis juu nilikuwa nayo ujinga na Lish. Unacheki? I think that's something that Kevo shares a lot in common with Lish. Like, if Lish is close with someone, Kevo blend naye almost immediately.
Based on my interactions with Kevin, I think he approaches life in a very open-minded way. He's a creative thinker, someone who like thinks in a very creative way, judging by his background. And I think he's someone who's willing to learn and open to learn. And he's also just fun to be around.
My interest with the visual arts and art in general started from a very young age. I have been always interested in drawing. I don't do that anymore. I think nikuzeeka too. But I have always been interested in drawing animals, trying to draw people, trying keyword hapo. And yeah, I've also, from a young age, I have also enjoyed and loved music, mostly because of my parents. Madhe hapo, sato jioni, kipika chapo lazima tusetie magospel hatari. And my dad, rumba, like hizo mangoma tu za kitambo zenye zilikuwa zinawabamba. So I have been always drawn to the act of creativity. Growing up, I have not considered myself as someone who would maybe be interested in business or trying to employ myself or creating opportunities for others also just to get employed through what they love doing. But I remember as a child, me and my sister, Belinda, we had a sort of business that we used to run.
We used to go and buy nyanyas, bread, milk, right? First of all, we used to borrow money from my dad, right? Go and buy these things for like 100 bob, come back, guess how much we were selling them for? 100 bob. No profit, nothing, then we give it back.
I think maybe your exchange of goods and services, hapo ndo penye, I think maybe for me ilianzia. But it was always interesting because my parents, pia life, wamepigana na hii life vilivyo. They have, growing up, we also used to see them invest in different businesses because walianza as people who are employed in different fields. Slowly, they found their way. Mpaka sahi hata what they are working on right now is not where they started. So it has been an evolution, and it has been interesting to watch them doing different things, especially in the business realm.
Some of us, even being in the journalism, it was not our career at first. I think we developed in the process because initially, like me, I worked for the government initially, and I was so ambitious, to get out of that cocoon and just get somewhere to be exposed. And when I went into journalism in 1983, I cannot regret.
The route to what I am now doing has been very long. Professionally, I have trained as an air and travel tours consultant. I worked in African tours and hotels for about 10 years. And then I got into the business of selling fish. Many years back when the children were still young, when Kevin was, I think, a toddler. And then I worked in, remember Kensel? The partnership shops. Yes, that was a tongue twister. I worked there as a manager for a few years as well. Then I became a volunteer children's officer. Worked with the children for quite a long time. Until now, I still work with children, fighting for the rights of the children. I was also a social worker for some time. Became a trainer of trainers with the Nyumba Kumi organization. And then I also was a matron at a children's school in Isinya called King's Children's Home. Became a teacher in Glory High School in Kibera for a few years. And then I got into church after resigning from teaching because I was feeling I was still not where I am supposed to be. So I became a church worker, eventually becoming an evangelist, and now a church secretary. So it's been a long, long journey to what I'm now doing, my passion.
So growing up, my first career of choice, the thing that I wanted to be was to be a journalist like my dad. Yeye alikuwa anaandikanga gazeti, but mi sijui kama nilikuwa, I don't know, I'm not sure if also that is what also I wanted to do, but that was my first career of choice. And then I also wanted to become a chef because nilisikia story from an older friend of ours akituambia that chefs earn 100k. Nikasema hapo ndo mi nitaomoke. Hiyo ilikuwa funny, but hiyo pia ikapotelea somehow too along the way. And then now when I was in high school, I really used to love chemistry. So when it came to the time where we were to choose the courses that we would do in campus, I was settling on either industrial chemistry or analytical chemistry. But marks kidogo hapo zikafanya niume nje. I didn't get the pass mark that I needed to do analytical chemistry. So I went to campus and did a BA in political science and economics. And then now I wanted to become an economist na kufanya vitu za statistics nini. But hiyo pia somehow ikauma tu nje. And now here I am as a photographer and a filmmaker. Inafeel ni kama imekuwa a full circle moment because just like I wanted to be a journalist documenting things as I was as a young child. Now here I am documenting people. I think when I reached third year, my mind opened up and I was like, okay, hii class yetu hata tuko waseka thao. Will I go and compete with the same people, our thousands, and other people from other campuses and other people who are already in the job market? Will I go and compete for the same kind of jobs with them? So I had to think of something else that I can do, maybe like a side hustle, such that when I graduate, hata nikitafuta job, I also have something else to fall back on. So when I was about to graduate, my thinking was that I would do both my side hustle, which was photography at that time, and now look for a job as an economist or something in the economic field.
Let me tell you the honest truth. The path of freelancing isn't one I would wish on many people. Because by the time he was telling me about his dream to pursue photography, I had worked, like formal jobs, but on the side, I had always tried to get projects, clients, and I know that it's not easy. So when he told me that, I was kind of worried. I was kind of I was kind of scared too because I've always not wanted like my younger siblings to see the harsh side of life, but that's not in my control. So when he told me, I was worried on the one hand, but on the other it was kind of weird because on the other hand I was like, if there's anyone who can make it with an entrepreneurial like venture, it will be Kevin.
I'm not sure I remember the exact point where he said, hey, Benish, Olish, I want to be a photographer. But I think I remember the feeling. I think I was very unsure because I was like, from where? You know, like it wasn't anything he had expressed interest in. It wasn't anything he had even spoken about, like said, by the way, that photo is nice. Like we hadn't had that kind of conversation at all. But I guess the passion and the enthusiasm he told me with, if that I can say that, really then just shifted my uncertainty and unsureness from to like just more optimism, because I was like, okay, sawa, this is interesting. I'm curious to see how this will go.
Tulikuwa tumezoea kuona watu wanakuja kwa harusi wanapiga picha wanazihang hapo juu, so you kind of think of it's the same thing. Wanabaki na picha, unanipiga picha kwa nini? I didn't tell you to unipige, and then you're telling me it's 50 bob. Baki nayo. And then I was like, what? Itakuwa hard. But I have learned to be confident concerning what he wants, because he always follows it through. So even when I was skeptic about it, I knew that he knows what he wants to do, and therefore was willing to have him give it a try. And also basically the family has been one that has not been afraid to begin, because we have begun over and over in our life as a family. We've begun things over and over again. So we have not been fearful of beginning again, of starting new things. There's a point I was believing that we are trendsetters. So that was a very green industry, and I wondered whether he would make it. But again, I was confident that if he knows what he's doing, I know he'll get to the end of where he wants to do. So I was okay.
In fact, Kevin didn't tell me that he wanted to venture. I remember I was abroad, and he was in the university then. Then he asked me that he wanted a camera.
It was a Nikon Coolpix L830 kitu ka hiyo. Yeah, so that was nilikuwa like hapa hivi sasa pia mimi ndakuwa photographer mnoma, naanza kuomoka. So I used to walk around campus asking people if they would want photos, and now just walking around and seeing if maybe there would also be people who would want to help me just to grow. I printed business cards zenye if you agreed to get a photo, I would give you the business card so that you can contact me if you ever needed photography services. Now slowly my courage ikaongezeka. I moved from campus, nikaanza kutembea tao. But tao tu ni mnyama tu kivyake. People are usually very focused in town. So ukienda kusimamisha msee anafikiria labda ni kama unataka kumuibia. So I had to shift my thinking from doing what I saw other people doing to now start focusing on building myself in a way that makes sense to me.
Most importantly, families or parents should understand their children from a certain age and support them in what they want to do for their life. And this is why I said, whether he did business, whatever at the university, it is not really important. In everything you touch, there is a purpose. And I can see that that Nikon camera has produced some other ideas that can propel him to go further than what you wanted to do initially.
Honestly, I don't think that I wanted to do it professionally at the time that I started.
I think when he started, it was just when like all these photographers started gaining traction on social media, mainly IG and Facebook. So I was seeing how all these other people were doing it, and I was like, kwa nini yeye asiweze kufanya hivyo. Like I thought he had a good eye. I thought he had a good grasp of like what makes a commercially viable, like concept. So when I knew that he'd have, like with all businesses, you'll have a bit of challenges in the initial, like in the start, when you're trying to get clients, when you're trying to find your style, when you're trying to decide what you want to do. So when he said photography, me, I just knew that it would grow into something else, because I saw like his passion for creativity, that the way even he was talking about it, it didn't seem that that was his, like his limit.
As I mentioned, there was a bit of uncertainty, right? I wasn't really sure that you're going to, or he was going to, he was going to go and do this like professionally, like make this my day to day, like every single day, this is a thing that I'm doing. Not because I didn't believe in him, but because I was just, it's when you're starting something new, first there's a lot of risk. Like, will this thing work? There's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of things that just affect the way things go. So I think my mind was just currently, like at that point, was plagued with those thoughts. So I was very unsure about, what is the trajectory of, this entire shindig. But I think as we moved, or like as he progressed, and, I saw his commitment to just becoming a better, enhancing and developing his skill set, really learning the business of his business, right? And I really then started getting a bit more confident in, okay, professional, nayo.
I thought Outa was doing photography for fun. When people finish school, mtu atatafuta tu kazi ya kumshikilia mkono. So I thought he was doing photography ya kumshikilia and just for fun. And also, I think the more we have been together, actually nimeona tu is something that he wants to do. The kind of projects he does, he has done big projects, which I think I'm very happy for him. I don't think, actually, I'm happy for him, and I think he's in the right path.
We have had so many photographers. We have Mohammed Maruf in Mombasa. We had Frank Wanjoy. We had so many. Willy Ndeko in Kenya, but they were material for employment that worked with the newspapers and then shifted. This young man, Kevin, has never worked with any news media house, but I believe he has a force behind him, and that force comes from his family.
Then it was a very new venture, but I am not confident he will do it. Why? Because he has moved out. He's now independent. He's living on his own. He's taking care of himself. He's paying his bills. He's doing his job and following up for payment. I am very confident. And then there's just a shine, a glow when he does this. It seems like it's his passion. He's put his heart to it. There's no job that he does not pull through. So I'm confident he'll make it. I'm confident that he will make it.
When I started, my focus was on maybe kutafuta do kiasi ya kukula sapa ama food uko campus, and now just use it to supplement the job that I would get after campus. That was my intention. But si kila kitu mtu panga yuenda venye anafikiria. I myself, mimi sijai andikwa kazi anywhere. After I finished campus, I have been doing photography all along, and that is what has been sustaining me. So I never thought of it in a professional sense. I never even thought of myself to grow from now just doing photography mainly to doing filmmaking, or to approaching my projects as an artist. I never thought of myself in that way. I just knew that lazima nitafute do, lazima nitafute do. I wanted to open a studio. Hivyo tu, like the normal things like normal photographers do. But I feel like over the years, my thinking has shifted a lot because I have moved from wanting to do what other people do to doing what I feel speaks to me and what I am interested in doing. So now that I have somehow made it a career, I have also have to have something outside of it that maybe can help me regather myself, maybe in times of stress, regather myself, just to relax and to decompress. One of the things that I can say I have been very passionate about in my life growing up is playing rugby. I started playing rugby in high school. Form 1, that was 2008. Yes, 2008. And I've played rugby all through my high school years. I've played rugby up until I was in third year. Yes, in third year, that is 2015. I played, now after high school, I played for Homeboys Rugby. And now nikifika third year I think is where I had to make a lot of decisions that zime influence how I live today. Because in ilifika time, it was either I choose school, playing rugby, or doing something that would help me get money. And I think shule haingeumia, hiyo nayo ni ukweli. Kutafuta do pia haingeumia. So ilibidi I take a step back from playing rugby.
I would really used to watch rugby sessions. Not him playing. Not him playing. But whatever I would see of what is happening on the rugby fields, the way people would plunge into someone's heart. Is it heart or looking for that ball, and step on one another, and I was so anxious. The time I would actually be praying while he was playing. So those were anxious moments.
I think my view on filmmaking and photography has shifted quite a bit from the days that I started. I remember earlier on, I really used to love doing portraits, shooting people and food. But nowadays, I find myself a bit more inclined to filmmaking, specifically focusing on making documentaries about artists, about people. Like, wasee tu wako na tu story.
From my current experiences with him, work-wise, I can say he's someone who is really passionate about what he does. All the projects that we've done together, he's been very committed, and he always just shows up and does the most, which is a really great virtue to have. And he's also someone who is really fun to work with. Like, we work together in a very simple way, and him being able to interact with his clients and his environment also just like brings out his creative flow and makes his work like stand out, which is something amazing. I can say we've had a good amount of experiences together, most of them being work experiences. We've worked together on a lot of projects, and we've also had fun experiences outside work. And some of my best experiences are when like we are in the same space, in the same workspace, and we just bump into each other and like make jokes and interact and just point out things here and there, which is quite fun. Yeah.
From working with Kevo, I feel like I'm very comfortable, to be honest. Like, it's gotten to a point where if I always try and make it for all the shoots, but on the occasion that I don't make it or I'm late, which happens sometimes, on the occasion that that happens, like I'm comfortable enough to be like, okay, I know Kivo has things sorted. And again, that just comes from him taking the time to understand what the job is about. Like what you see a lot in, especially with I don't even want to say Kenyan, I just want to say photographers in general and videographers all over the world, is that they have to be given a brief and be like, okay, take this, take this, take this, take this, right? But then what you find is that we're working especially with our photography and videography and our production, we're working in spaces which are almost like corporate based. So sometimes you might have a brief, but you see something, I can be like, hey, this might have value for them later on, right? And we're here now, why not take it? So that taking initiative of thinking way ahead and be like, hey, this might be something they might use for their social media, or they might use it for their YouTube, or they might use it for their website, you know. Those are some of the reasons that makes me quite comfortable being able to just let him take control of a lot of things that we do together.
Kivo has a very high level of professionalism when he's running his business. I've gotten the chance to work with him in like several of our OB projects, where I've had to play boss and sister at the same time. But I've really seen that he's very dedicated, he's very committed, he's very committed to excellent, output. Really listens, really inputs where he needs to input. Like if he sees something doesn't make sense, he really just gives solutions. He's also always on time. You know that when, as creatives, when you're kind of running a set, sometimes you say, okay, call time is 7 a.m. And then guys just waltz in at like 9 or whatever, right? There's that level of creativity, I mean, of professionalism kind of lacks in the business sometimes. But with Kevo, I've through and through, I think I've seen that he's a great timekeeper, which I try to emulate sometimes because I'm one of those people. But yeah, he's very committed to his craft, which just largely affects his output, which is always great. Yeah.
Ukimpatia job, actually ataifanya ni kama ni yake. Ataifanya kama ni yake. He always wants to deliver the best. He always tell me, deliver the best. Usifanye kitu like in a hurry and you deliver nothing. It's not good. Do it like you're doing it for yourself.
So I remember when I was first starting out, my creative process ilikuwa, I can say, very basic, because I had some notebooks that I would write my ideas on, and I would write the concepts that I have in mind, write the dates maybe that I would want to shoot, the potential locations that I would have in mind, maybe the props that I would need. That was sort of how I did things. Na nilikuwa not after inspiration from very basic things, I would say. Kitu kama leo nikiamka kama na feel niko down, hiyo niko like, okay, how can I make these emotions into a shoot? Ama I would get like a word and see how can I make this word into a shoot. So I think that is how I started. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa process yangu, and at that time it worked for me. But now, developing and growing my skill set, and now even venturing to filmmaking, my process has changed significantly. I now use a software called Milanote that inasaidia tu kukua na a place where you can organize your ideas visually. Unaweka photos, unaweka the concept brief hapo, unaweka maybe music if you want to as well. So my process has changed. In this Milanote boards, I usually have a mood board, I have a short list, I have a storyboard, where now, instead of just trusting on what I have written to convey an idea, I also use music, I use photos, I use visual references that can help me now achieve the kind of vision that I see in my head as well.
One thing with Kivo, and I feel like I'm in a very unique position because we've worked together and we are always in the process from beginning to end, is that he takes the different aspects of the craft equally seriously, right? So you could do a shoot and he just tells you, this one will take me 2 days to do. I know he'll tell you 2 days, but within like 24 hours, you get a Google Drive has just come in, right? So it's the seriousness with which he takes the different aspects of photography and videography.
As an artist, you see other artists developing something from nothing, essentially. So it's interesting to see them, how to see and understand how others work, so that I can also maybe try to do the same process-wise, or to be inspired in the same way that they do, maybe using things like music. Naweza sikia ngoma niko like, okay, I can try to use this song to make the visuals of how the song makes me feel. Yeah, so music inspires me, the creative processes of other people inspire me. And also, I think one thing that keeps me inspired to create is that I always want to create something that is bigger than myself.
The thing that I've also learned about Kivo is that he's very adaptable, right? And he adapts to thrive, right? So I think when he started out, he was largely just doing photos, portraits. I don't know the jargon, so I'm just gonna say things, shoot things. But as you know, as I said, he's very committed to his craft, which means he's constantly learning, right? How can I be better? How can I improve my skill set? What does the market actually need, from a creative who is in the space that I'm in? So the fact that he's been able to take this to account and really just immerse himself in like, okay, this is what the market needs. This is how, let me even test my limits, right? Let me see what I can actually do, because I won't know until I try. So just seeing him evolve from like just taking photos, moving from portraits to now product photography, to taking video, doing videos, doing his own docus, capturing events, like jack of all trades, cave of all trades, right? Like the evolution has really been great to see, and I'm really now very excited to see what next. Like that's the thing that I'm always waiting on, right? Because one day Kevo will tell you that this is I do ABC, but the next day it's Vikat Bakaji, So like the evolution is really, it's continuous and it's progressive, and it's quite a dope experience to just be in and to see.
I remember the first time we did a box-to-box shoot, because it's an event. Gravel Trap is an event by Box to Box where people come, watch F1 and all of that. So the first 2 or 3 times we did it, like the photos that were coming out the photos were good, but they were more like event photos, right? And at that moment is when it hit him that at the end of the day, in as much as people are coming together, it's a sports event. So there's moments where people just get up and scream and shout, right? So which is something you don't see at a wedding. At a wedding, like if a ring is going to be put on, everyone will celebrate. So you can just stand and take the photo. But with sports, you never know. That guy's team might start losing, so you have to take the photo there and then. Or they might concede and it goes like that very quick, or she goes like, crazy. So the way you take those photos is different. So Kevo just pulled me to the side and asked me, hey, I've started seeing, there's some things here that I need to do a bit differently. And then I told him, I wanted you to see it naturally. And the good thing about Gravel Trap is because it's something that we are growing, there's space to grow for everyone. Myself, for Kevo as well as a photographer. And the moment he said that, the next shoot, it's like all the photos were candid, like in the moment photos. And that quick learning type of mentality, I don't really call it a mentality, it's just a trait. That trait of being a quick learner, and also realizing that you can be better, because there are people who are like, okay, maybe I'm not going to be better. So when he sees like here is an opportunity to grow, Kevo adapts quite quickly. And that's why I say in terms of career development, it's come from far, and it's gotten quite far. but I still feel like we have a long way to go for myself and Kevo, like together. Because again, working with him for sure, I have also become a better photographer and a videographer. But I feel like we're just scratching the surface with what we're doing.
I think his dedication has been clear throughout like his growth. Like it's always been clear that he's moving towards something that he has he has very clear, like a very clear picture of in his mind. So it's been a joy, truly. It's taught me a lot about how to grow a business. It's taught me a lot about, I've always been like a all or nothing kind of person, but Kevin has taught me that sometimes it's good to go in stages. And so his evolution, personally to me, it's just taught me, it's shown me his dedication and his commitment to his craft, right? And it showed me what more knowledge, more practice, more experience, and just more time, what it can do to someone's skill set, and the growth that can come from just taking your time and not taking shortcuts, putting your all like 100% every step of the way. So it's been a joy to watch, truly. Yeah.
If you put a lot of effort in something that you want to do, God is equal let down. You'll always get the reward. So the effort that he's putting nowadays, I use him let down. He'll be very successful. The kind of projects zenye anafikirianga, he has big dreams we hadi zinaweza kushtua. So I think he's in the right path.
One of the most career defining moments for me, or career changing and life changing projects, was when I was selected to be a recipient of the Adobe Stock Artist Development Fund in 2022. For a long time, I have always been trying to get my projects noticed on an international scale, and I've been making proposals and sending them out, but sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But actually being selected as by Adobe Stock, a very, very big player in the creative space, it somehow validated what I have been trying to do. That I have been trying to not to focus my career solely on the local space, but also seeing how I can get myself to work with international brands. So this was a very career defining moment for me. It helped me, and the project that helped me get this was Art and Soul. As you can see, Art and Soul has been tumebebana nayo. It has been with me consistently all through my journey as a photographer and filmmaker. And it was very interesting to see that people in the international space considered it as something that had potential. Because locally, I had also tried reaching out to a few brands, but sometimes wakikujibu, it's not the response that you expect. Ama wanakujibu in a way that you feel whatever you're working on is not important. So actually getting this project accepted by Adobe Stock was very game changing, and it helped me upgrade my equipment. It helped me upgrade my thinking as well. Nilikuwa na laptop ingine ilikuwa ina struggle mbaya. Kifungua hivi kitu kama Lightroom ama Photoshop, fan inapumua. Iko tu hapo inapumua. Even something like Google Chrome would take about a minute or two to start up. So this opportunity came with a lot of good tidings for me. And now I know and understand that good things come to those who wait, those who work while they are waiting, and those who are ready when the right opportunity comes knocking. So when I started photography, I was I was drawn to people and to now making people look as natural as possible in the most creative way that I could. So that is how I slowly started working on conceptual portrait shoots, because unaweza shoot tu mse kawaida, like unaweza come uniangalie useme unakaa poa alafu nipige picha, but how can you spice that up? How can you build a concept around whatever you're trying to shoot? How can you make your work be different from what wasee tu wanafanya? So that is what drew me to conceptual portraits. And I think that even now, I love building concepts around things and creating maybe things in a way that other people don't see. And I think that this sort of style has also evolved into my filmmaking, because when I started filmmaking, I was mostly doing food videos and using now vitu za DIY kushow wase venye wanaweza do food photography at home. I remember one of my first projects, nilitengeneza softbox na box ya kawaida, box ya maziwa na karatasi, alafu nikaweka simu yangu hapo ndani kwa kama the light source. But hiyo pia tulichangia some way in my journey, because even though I didn't have everything that I needed at that time, I had the creativity and the drive to make things work. So now shifting into shooting people, I was making video portraits of people mixed with now actual photo portraits. So let's say like the one that comes to my mind is that I went with a friend to Karura, and we just shot a video of like she was walking through the space and now photographing her as she moved along in the space. Here you can ensure that I can actually shoot people, and now kenye tu bado imekuwa tu circulate tu within, hata nikichange my notebooks, the ones that I used to write my creative process in, the idea yenye imebebeka kwa hizo notebooks zote ni art and soul. So developing hiyo ilianza kama a photo project, but now the way I do it is like a video series of people in their creative element. So the first time nilifanya like a proof of concept for art and soul, hiyo ili change tu akili yangu, nilikuwa like okay, so I can do a documentary in this style, in this format, like the short documentaries. Mekana msee mahali akupigia story, record like creative process yake. So that is how I think I found my way to now doing documentary filmmaking and photos.
Outa loves watching documentaries, and also he loves watching people's stories in a positive way, and I think it's very encouraging kwa sababu sometimes like wacha tuseme kama Kenya, a lot of celebrities wanakonga na a good story, and then later you celebrate them today, then all of a sudden they go quiet, amjui nini ili happen. So I think in between there is a story which needs to be inafaa tuisikike.
The human condition and the human experience is something that we should all be in awe of. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone, if you give someone the right platform, or if you give someone an opportunity to speak, especially to speak about what they're passionate about, be it creativity, be it life, be it religion, people will actually speak. So I think that is the thing that draws me most to making documentaries. I love seeing people express themselves, because as an artist, that is also what I do. I love to express myself, and now creating a platform or an avenue for people now to express themselves in the same way that I do is what makes me very interested in making documentaries.
I think Kevo was made for documentaries. Not to say that, to me, documentaries are serious, they're incisive, like they reach to the heart of the matter, and to me, it's like it's a genre that was just made for Kevo. I think that's how his mind works. He's shown his chops like in the more creative side of things, right? But I honestly think the unique creativity that goes into a documentary, that it just fits him, it fits his personality, it fits the way his mind works and the way he sees the world, and it fits the way he thinks through problems.
You'd think that doing documentaries is just having a camera, switching it on and putting on the mics and telling the story or letting people tell the story. But the one thing that or one of his strongest traits that will help him be good in this space, which is something that you need in documentaries, you need to be able to talk to people and you need to make them open up to you. And that warmth is something that Kevo has naturally, right? So we can easily go for a shoot and within 10 minutes and I guess I'm the same way. So I guess in that way we sort of, you can see how we we are close. So it makes it easier for us to go out there and just talk to people and they open up to us and we do things, right? But with Kevo, it's like he has this ability to blend with, like in Yaururu, we were talking to people from France and from Senegal, Cameroon, and like the western part of Africa. And at the same time, the waitresses and the waiters at the location, like treating everyone as equals, like just being able to talk to people and keep them and make them open up. I feel like that's a very, it's an essential trait if you're going to get into the documentary space. Then with that, it becomes easier for people to tell you stories. Then it becomes easier for you to tell their story. And then they trust you even more with it. So I think this is something for sure. And obviously the biggest one is passion. Like the passion is there. And I guess that's why we're here today.
His passion, right? And just being that commitment, man. I think really people really underestimate your commitment to something, right? Like I'm committed to seeing something through. I'm committed to existing as my best self in the space that I'm in. And that's what Kevo is all about, right? So I think just his core values make me know that he's really going to do well. And every single time he sends me like these project notes that I know most of some get out, some don't even, haven't gotten out yet. My mind is normally blown because I'm like, wow, this is so dope. Like it's very well thought out. It stays true to his values, true to his, it's very authentic. He doesn't like try to, I don't know how to say it, but I think munanielewa. So I think his core values like just really spill over to the way he works, and I think this will really it's sustainable for him.
His transition from how he began this journey from photography into video, and I think having a really nice work ethic is really going to play a big role, and his passion for what he does and how he thinks is also going to play a big role. Also, I think having done business before and having interacted with the business space is also like going to play a big role.
Making documentaries has really evolved my storytelling process and technique, because I have come to learn and to understand that these documentaries are not about me just shooting or me doing so in the most creative and fancy way possible. It is about actually listening to these people and to what they have to say. It has also taught me the importance of giving people space to speak, to be a more present listener, and even just to try to examine different parts of a story to be able to fully convey the ideas that you have. As a professional career, photography and filmmaking is very time consuming. It is very thought intensive, and it is also very capital intensive as well. So it can somehow affect or influence your relationship with your friends, with your family, or with your significant other as well.
I don't think it affects our relationship so much, but sometimes when he has a lot of work to deliver, there's a lot of pressure that comes with it. And that time, atabonda tu kiasi, but mtakuwa tu sawa. You always have to understand.
Honestly, I think the fact that we've been both able to kind of have that healthy balance between professionalism and, because as I mentioned, we've worked together several times, right? So I wouldn't really say that I think it's positively impacted. Let me say positively impacted, because now we have a new layer of, experiences, a new layer of conversation, a new layer of everything that now we can just sit and chat about and compare notes and whatever. Right? So I can say it's positively impacted. Of course, there's been a few times where it's been, especially when we're working together, it's been difficult to separate this is my baby bro. But also, I'm speaking for the business, so I need to come through in that sense. But we've always been able to manage, because it's a healthy balance of everything. Yeah, so I'd say it's a positive impact, because first of all, the new layers and the new things that we can talk about and the new experiences that we can share. But yeah, it's been I'd say it's positive.
It doesn't really affect our relationship. The only thing is, like, sometimes I want to go see him. I'm like, okay, wewe uko nyumbani, and he's like, no, mimi niko Nyahururu. That's the only that's the only way it affects it affects our relationship. But honestly, personally, me, I'm not the most outgoing person. So it's through this my siblings, like the work and like the creativity and like stuff like what Kevin does over the weekends with like his projects and his friends things. Those are that's how I socialize. So I think he's on a good track personally.
He has gotten more busy. He has gotten more independent. And to see him, it's very rare. And I'm not complaining. In fact, I know that as much as he's going out there and just joining people, it's better for what he's doing. So I miss him. I miss those tete-a-tetes that we would have, and I miss those helps, because he's also been very helpful in the house. So I miss those as well. Positively, I am so excited about the independence. I remember when he first went to live by himself, and I kept checking on him. Umekula? Uko na nini? Uko na unga? Uko na nini? I was umelipa rent, I was very concerned, and I think I bored him with the many telephone calls that I made. But he has become very independent. He has become very focused. He has become social, because he interacts with the people from many calibers. He interacts with as he goes out shooting photographs, as he goes out, it enables him to socially interact with all manner of people. And I think that is a very good exposure for him.
The profession is your lifeline. You should not hinder or tamper with your family setup or relationship, unless somebody has a different mind and has other reasons to do that. So, as I had said earlier, in our family, we encourage positive move, positive achievement. But if it is a different thing, then we might tell you in your face that where you are going is not the right direction. So we are supporting Kevin to go out there and ensure that the support we gave him is returned back.
Even in this, it has both positive and negative effects. I think that negatively, I spend less time with my family, with my significant other, with my friends. And it can be very hard because of course una try to make it na ku follow dreams zako, but you also have to be sensitive about the feelings of the people around you. So I think the thing is that you have to be very intentional with planning your days and planning how you spend time with your family, your friends, and your loved ones. And just try as much as possible to be present when you're there. Positively, making documentaries or just being a photographer and filmmaker in general has helped me to become a better listener. Because of course, ukimake documentaries, essence ya documentaries ni kusikia mse. So why can't you carry this same feeling or thing to the people around you? Just try to become a better listener, try to be more open with them and receptive to their different ideas and opinions, such that at the little time that you spend together, it makes a bigger impact to them because you listen to them, you are intentional with spending time with them and doing the things that they love doing. There are times where this career in photography and filmmaking has a very huge strain on your mental well-being. Saa zingine si fun. Si fun. The highs are extremely high and the lows are extremely low as well. Especially if you're someone like me who has very big dreams. If you're someone like me mwenye uko very ambitious and you know what you want and what you want to achieve, it can take a toll on you mentally. It can be very challenging trying to find the right path to chase your dreams, to meet certain expectations that you have set for yourself. And I think in as much as you can be your biggest supporter, pia wewe na akili yako si friends. Akili ikiamua kukuchapa violence, itakuchapa na utatii. So it's inakwanga tricky at times. The thing that I have learned from these highs and lows is that having a job in creativity is very fulfilling. And since we signed up for it, sisi ndo tulijiweka hapa, hakuna mtu alikama katushobedewe ni aje kama ukwe photographer hapa, sisi ndo tulijiweka hapa. So putting yourself in this space, you need to learn to accept the good with the bad and roll with them.
Can I say it's a double-edged sword? Does it always have to be bad if it's a double-edged sword? I mean, a sword can also be nice. It's a dual. I think it's a dual courage. First, because I think it's had a very positive impact on his mental well-being because of creativity is I think is kind of like a happy drug, if I can say that, right? Just being able to explore the limits or the no limits, but yeah, just being able to like really let your mind run wild, right? And just be there for that journey and go through the motions and come up with these concepts, think of, like, I think that's creativity is really a drug. So in an essence, I think that has been positive for him to just being able to like, go through the journey of his process and like from start to finish. That has been fulfilling in that sense. But I think on the other side, there's also some, I don't want to say negative, but not so positive impacts sometimes. Because I know when you're making creativity your passion, right? The success sometimes is really dependent on how creative am I, what makes me stand out. And as a human being, sometimes I think that's not, you're not at optimal level at all times. So the things that sometimes when we just talk casually with Kibo, and he's not really, in that creative space, sometimes I see him a bit low, because this is his business, right? And his ability to sustain the business is largely dependent on how the output of his creativity, which is sometimes not there because, people have creative blocks sometimes, right? Sometimes life happens and, you're just like, creativity take a sit back, right? Yeah, so I think it's been high and low in that sense. But I think because we are here and we're doing this today, I think the positivity tends to outweigh the negative days, and his resilience and really just getting back up and saying, okay, yesterday was not a good day. Today will be a good day. And we get back to, running this show and shooting for the stars and just doing what I do best.
I think it's difficult to get into Kevo's head and actually say that, okay, this is having a positive impact, negative impact, like his career in terms of his well-being or his mental well-being. It's difficult to definitively say that. I feel like only he can say that. But what I know is when Kevo is working, when Kevo is behind the camera and actually taking photos, doing videos, editing, trying out new techniques, that is when, from what I've seen, I feel like he's at his that is zen. That is zen for him. Which is also just how I feel like he aligns many things in his life, like in terms of being systematic. So when that system and that order is missing, I feel like that's when it might affect him a bit, right? But as long as that system and that order is in place, and that again comes to the point of as long as it's working, in my opinion, I feel like it puts him in a space where he is not, for lack of a better phrase, losing it.
I can say it's a positive impact. Being someone who is in the same space, just channeling out like your inner thoughts and your inner creativity, like just brings that inner peace because it's something that you're passionate about and it's something that you are showcasing out there to the world. So I don't think the impact can be negative at all because it's something that is within him. Yeah.
From what I see, I think he really likes making stuff. I think he likes the process of making things, of being creative, of, like taking an idea from your mind and bringing it to the world. I think he seems like he likes it. But I've also seen the other side of when there's no clients, the stress of it all, of trying to balance, like his editing work. Usually takes quite a bit, like his pre and post production stuff, and trying to balance it like with just the natural flow of life. As I said, I think he knew what he was signing up for, honestly, because he's been able to handle it with grace. And sometimes you wouldn't even know that he's struggling. But I think if you have a community around you, which he has managed to build, he's built a very supportive and inspirational community around him. And I think it's important to deal with the ups and downs of the path that he has chosen. Yeah, I think it's just standard. Business is hard. It's hard for everyone, no matter how how experienced or not you are. So, and if the fact that he's been proactive about taking self-care and just keeping himself grounded, I think is important.
It's very, very hard. Sometimes, actually, when he's applying for some projects and then people don't get to he doesn't get feedback, or if he gets feedback, people will check the numbers he has. Example, YouTube or Instagram. So in people don't believe in people who have low numbers. So he always misses opportunities when it comes to applying big projects, or mainly good projects. And actually, those projects, they have potential to be big. I think that's a big challenge to him, and that sometimes it affects him mentally. Yeah.
I think especially with the size and with like how expansive my dreams and ambitions are, constantly looking for the resources to help you achieve them is very challenging. It's very difficult, especially kama maybe you don't have a wide scale of influence, or maybe haujulikani, or you're just coming up. Inaweza kuwa a very big challenge just trying to even to actualize your projects. And I think if sending out proposals was a sport, mi ningekuwa na mamedal mingi sana. Ningekuwa na so many medals, because you wake up, unaandika proposal yako, unatuma, alafu unangoja. So ukingoja, you don't know if they will respond, you don't know if watakulenga, you don't know if kata wakirespond, hujui kama itakuwa yes. So inawanga challenging, inawanga very challenging, because saa zingine wanasemanga if you want to go far, lazima utembe na watu around you. So you actually need people to help you out in the course of your dreams. Na saa zingine the people that you think can help you, ama the people that you want to help you, maybe hao naona ni kama hao hawafai kuwa part of your journey. So it can be very heavy on you sometimes. Saa zingine especially unaamka asubuhi, unaona uko na ka email, unachangamuka uko like at least ukifungua hiyo email, maybe it's a rejection or it's a wait. And I've come to realize that saa zingine when the rejections come, nakujanga zikifuatana. Nachukua no yako leo, kisha unapoka ingine polite, the next day hivyo. But hakuna kitu utafanya, because you know what you want. Utasikia vibaya 1 or 2 days, utajiallow kufeel what you need to feel, but the thing is, dik wounds zako, get up and move on. Maybe hizo no zote, labda una need no 10 ndio upate yes moja. So you never actually know what is waiting for you on the other side of that no. To be honest with myself, I don't think that I am where I would want to be in life. I have so many dreams, I have so many ambitions, both in my life and in my career, that I feel or believe I need to achieve.
He's not where he wants to be right now. The way we talk, the way sometimes he tells me place anaweza taka kukua. So I think bado is in that journey, but bado hajafika hapo. I don't think amefika hapo place yenye anataka kufika. And also the kind of dreams he has. Vile tu nimesema, every time he has big dreams zinaweza kushtua.
I don't think so. And honestly, it's good. It's good to be hungry. It's good to always, I've hit this goal. Now what's the next thing? I think it's good to always keep that momentum. So very few people amongst us are where we want to be in life, in career, in any facet of life. So the continuous improvement is what is important. I don't think it's helpful or beneficial to focus on what could have been, or eye wishes, you know. It's all a factor of time. If you keep working hard, if you keep moving towards a particular destination, you'll always reach it.
In my opinion, I can say he's not there yet, but I can say that he's on the right track. And being in this creative space, it's always so monotonous being in one specific field for a long time. It's satisfying to begin with, but there's so much more to explore. So I can say he's transitioning into now documentary, which is something that is now going to lead him to where he wants to be. Maybe in the long run, he's going to transition into something else. We never know, but I can say he's on the right track.
No. Kevo is nowhere near where he wants to be. So I'll give you an example. When I first met him, he was into photography. His camera did not even see the video area. Like, he did not invest in lights for video, right? 3 years down the line, we are now into videos and we're doing documentaries and all of these things, right? And there's still an aspect of like graphics animation that I know he wants to get into. There's very many things that Kevo wants to actually perfect or add to his arsenal and just make his craft a bit better. So from a professional colleague's perspective, I guess all colleagues are professional, but from a colleague's perspective, I know there's places he wants to get to in terms of and I know them specifically, right? So I can tell you for a fact there is a lot and there's levels that he still wants to get to.
I don't know, but because I would say no, right? But he's on the right path. No, because I know, and we have these conversations about his ambitions, his dreams, you know, where he wants to be in life. The shit that he really wants to fuck, you know, like fuck shit up, like do dope things. And he's doing dope things. So I'd say because I have intel, I'd say no. But I know he's on the right path. Yeah, he's hata sijui kaya anajua kwenye anaenda, by the way, but yeah, call me after 30 days, no sure. It's on my rate card.
I believe this is not where I would want to be, because I feel and know that there is so much more that I can do with my filmmaking and with my life in general as well. So I know where I want to go with this career. I know what I want to do with the equipment I have been blessed with. It's just now about executing and finding the right voices to amplify. Coming to this realization was not easy, to be honest. It takes a different kind of level of self-analysis and self-examination to just look within yourself and tell yourself that you are not where you need to be. You are not where you're supposed to be. And to understand that you have to work hard and to push yourself even harder just so you can move forward. That is how I can describe this gap. It is the space between where I am right now and where I want to be. Once I did a self-examination of where I am and where I would want to be, I knew that I had to bridge this gap, because by bridging this gap, it is the only way that I can create the kind of life that I want for myself and my family, and even just allow my career to scale up to the heights that I know it can reach. And I also know that I want to bridge this gap because in all aspects of life, the thing that I am constantly fighting with is to become a better version of myself than I was yesterday.
Before we started dating, the way I knew him, I knew him as a bad boy. Outa, sorry, but I knew you as a bad boy, and many people knew you as a bad boy. I think the kind of people, the kind of friendship he had. So tuliona ni mse mbaya, like ni mse mzuri, but with certain characters. But when we started dating, oh, very different, a very different person with a good personality. Actually, when you date someone with big dreams, I think even when mwenyewe pia, you start having big dreams. And I think he has taught me a lot. He has taught me to believe in myself so much. And he has also helped me in this journey of life.
I know that with where with how I am right now as a person, I should be doing something that is bigger than myself, something that maybe can impact the lives of other people and create spaces for people just to express themselves. Although I am not where I want to be, I am very grateful about where I am right now. I understand that there are times where I may be frustrated because things are not going as fast as I would want them to, or things are not going my way. Overall, it is just a feeling of deep gratitude. Deep gratitude to God, to my family, to the people around me, because they have always been supporting me on this journey. And to be honest, I know that at where I am right now, I have also achieved things that a few years ago seemed so far-fetched, seemed like maybe they would not happen even in this lifetime. So I am grateful because at this point in time, I am also living in some answered prayers. My biggest ambition is to make feature-length documentaries. I believe that in doing so, I can tell the stories that without me would probably have not been told elsewhere or by someone else.
There are people whose voices are never heard, but they have a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell. You have to just open up and give a chance for that story to be told. As I earlier said, a photo, a picture, one picture speaks 1,000 words. And we are telling Kevin, go there and make sure that happens.
One of the things I would also want to do is to mentor someone who has an interest in this field, and just give them a chance to grow in this craft, and even now push it forward, pay it forward rather, to someone else, just to also help the people around him succeed and uplift themselves.
I believe that I am better at FIFA as compared to Kivo. No, but seriously, I don't know. I feel like Kivo and myself, it's been a journey of just when you open with someone and it's transparent, like things just flow, right? And that is how it has always been. I think right now our biggest goal is to see how big we can get this production house of ours and how we can take it to the next level and actually just dominate, because at this point we are doing so many different things that it's making us quite diverse, which is a good thing because we're not limited to just one aspect of production. And I would love to see where that goes, because I believe we have a very strong team, and it has so much potential.
I think the first thing that I can do to start bridging this gap is to focus on creating the kind of projects that I want with the resources that are available to me. I know that it's easy for us to get lost in the limitations that we may have with our gear, in the limitations that we may have with the equipment and the resources that is available to us. But to build the life that you want, to create the career that you want, you have to start somewhere. And that somewhere is focusing on creating beautiful things with the kind of equipment that you have. I will also be very intentional with how I approach my projects, because you can never know just how big a project can go. And because my intention is to make feature-length documentaries, I want to start creating things that can act as a launch pad to the next level or the next step of my career.
Yeah, I think just as a parting shot, I think I'm one of Kevo's biggest fans, biggest supporters. And I'm so excited to see, I'm just so excited for him and his future, because I know it's just gonna be so, close my eyes, close your eyes, team, close your eyes. It's gonna be so, it's going to be so dope, so dope. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say, man. Like, I'm just so excited to see the way he's going to like really be a leader in this filmmaking and documentary space. To see the heights that he'll soar. He saw, man, he saw. He saw. Yeah, and just the way he's going to fuck shit up. And I come, by the way, check review mirror. I don't worry, have your review. On the side mirror, you're driving and you're like, oops, okay, come now by. And I'm so happy and excited to be a part of his life and his growth and what the future holds.
My journey in photography and filmmaking has really impacted how I view the world today, because I have been at it for over 9 years now, and it's not an easy journey. It's full of ups and downs. The same with life. Life is full of ups and downs. And I think that the biggest lesson that I have learned from this is that sometimes you will not be given what you feel you need or what you feel you deserve. You have to actively work and go and take it. Nothing is given for free. It is the effort that you put into your craft and into yourself that will enable you to take what you deserve or what you feel is right for you.
His is a story, a long story of how he has gotten to where he is. He has tried this, he has tried this. Of course, the first trial is going to school, going to the university, and trying to align to what you have gotten the degree in, and then seeing that it's not quite coming out, and then now trying other things, not giving up. Many have gotten into drugs. Many are working in places where they never thought that they would be there, but because of the circumstances of life, they are where they just took what came. Maybe it is not even a legal thing, huh? So I am sure, very sure that this story, Kevin Outa's story, will impact the lives of young, upcoming photographers and filmmakers.
When you listen to someone experience, it just slaps different, yeah. And I feel like so many people out there just need like a tiny bit of courage or a tiny bit of just confidence from somewhere, from someone else or someone who has been like in the same industry and has had similar experiences, just for assurance.
It has also taught me that patience is a virtue. we ni msemo lakini it's actually true, because on the journey of trying to achieve your dreams or trying to chase your ambitions and your goals, you have to be very patient. It's rarely that utamka siku moja upate everything fall in line, but I believe that if you consistently work on yourself and work towards your dreams, every day something small happens that ina build up towards the bigger picture. Leo kitu ndogo ita happen kwa like, okay, sijapata kenye nataka lakini hii kitu ndogo happen. Kesho the same. By the end of the week uko 5 steps closer than where you started from. So it's about being patient, it's about being persistent, it's about perseverance, because wewe tu unajua kenye unataka, and if you quit then hautapata kenye unataka. So you just have to believe in yourself and also believe in what you're trying to push.
Knowing that hata si believe, it's good. Me, I know that the path that is on is a path of growth, and it's a path of, like, exciting opportunities. And I have the confidence, through past actions, I know that he'll be able to make his dreams come true. It's just like, the other day we were talking and I was like, I told him gardening has taught me a lot. And the one thing that it's taught me is that, this big plant, it comes from a tiny, tiny seed. And in everything, you have to be a person who embraces, small beginnings. You have to see the value of going up one step at a time. You have to see the value of building houses from the foundation up. And you have to see the value, like your growth as a creative will come from taking simple ideas and fleshing them out into like complex, self-sustaining things that can inspire and bring life to other people. So, and that only comes from authenticity. And I'm sorry, it's not easy. It doesn't just come. We all have our creative spark. We all have our way, how we express ourselves. But you have to commit yourself to the process of growth.
I think the lesson that I have learned in my photography journey is how to be resilient. Si kila kitu kila siku itaenda venye unataka ama venye una expect, but when things are not going your way, that is when you push yourself to work hard. That is when unaweka as much effort as you can. Hiyo ndio time vitu haziendi right. Hiyo ndio time ina define character yako. For people coming up in the photography and filmmaking space, my advice would be, do not limit your dreams. Do not limit yourself in your own thinking. Dream big, manze. Hiyo dream yako haitafanya kitu. Ukidream big, hata ukidream hata venye unajishtua, it's yours. It's yours, and it doesn't mean that you have to achieve everything at once. It's about slow, steady steps towards where you want to be. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Andika hizo proposals, zitume. Work on the projects that you want, and don't be afraid to put your work out there. That is the only way people will know what you're doing, and people will know just how much you can bring to the table. I think the biggest piece of advice that I would like to share about life in general is, do not be afraid to take stock of your life. Usiogope kujichapa self-analysis. Usiogope self-examine, because that is the only way you know if what you're doing is right. That is the only way you know if unaenda in the direction that you want to go. That is the only way utajua if there's something you need to improve on, or if there's something that you need to do more of. So manze, don't be afraid to. Usiogope kujichambua. Jichambue, search yourself inside out, look through yourself, look through your thinking, examine every aspect you can about yourself, because this is also the way that you will find something that you are passionate about. It is also the way that you will find something that ignites your soul.